Hello there and welcome to Tom's Warhammer Minis. The Pox Wretches are mortals who have taken their first shambling steps on the path to entropy. Their aspiration is to transform into one of Nurgle's demonic minions, and as such they wear cyclopean masks that grant them that exact visage. Now I love these new models for many reasons, and I hope they get their own standalone release. They make absolutely fantastic Poxwalker variants for 40k, because you do get those feudal worlds in the sense it's not always scientific, and they really suit that design, and the build choices are so simple yet perfect, and they do just have that absolute awesome perfect zombie vibe that just really feels familiar in some very modern computer games that we can play. Now in Darkwater they are also the biggest batch paint to do, 14 models and a lot of work. Now in this guide I'll show you how to do it all in one day with carefully planned colours. That means just one overall colour of dry brushing that finishes off with a really neat highlight. Equally, it means they're finished quickly and it leaves them looking awesome. So grab your paints, grab your brushes, let's get hobbying. And we're beginning with our Pox Wretches. They're really awesome models. Things to note: I'm doing the whole squad in one go. Essentially every colour that you see, apart from this little subtle difference here, it will be repeated on every single model. We'll explain the skin tone in a second. So, points of interest to note: every model has been primed in white scar. Their bases have already been textured with sterling mud. Now to begin with, we need a skin tone. And essentially with 14 models, I've split it into two. So 7 of one, 7 of the other. And in the next step, I'm going to do an overall wash that's going to sort of unite them together. So to begin with, we're going to take the one on the left, and we're doing 7 of them. And the skin tone is Reikland Fleshshade. Nice and simple, just base coat it on. For our 7 that are going to be on the right, the skin tone is Targor Rageshade. Now essentially I just want something to make them look a little bit unique and a little bit different. These are undertones. In the next step I'm going to do a green wash all over them to create that sort of undead, sort of zombie / Nurgle kind of vibe. So take your time. Obviously avoid all the ropes and bandages that are on the models. Just literally take one at a time, do 7 of one, do 7 of the other. If you want to try something different, you could go Gutrippa Flesh. There's so many potential colour schemes here. We'll showcase this one. But for now, this is the Reikland Fleshshade. Here's the Targor, and I'm going to add a green wash in the next step. From this step onward, every colour I put on one piece will be the same on all of the models. And we're starting with this greenish tint. We want to really create the idea that A, they're dead, B, they're Nurgle. So obviously the colour is going to be a green, and it is going to be Gutrippa Flesh, but we cannot paint this on in its purest form, otherwise it's just not going to look right. We need to thin it down to a glaze consistency, so we're talking roughly 1 part of Gutrippa Flesh, and in this case 2 parts of Lamy Medium, and nice and simply we're just treating it like a shade paint. Paint it straight on and just let it settle. It's going to tint. That's all it's going to do, very nicely, creating this very sickly hue. And this is the 2 different colour schemes. So this one's the Reikland Fleshshade, this one was the Targor Rageshade. They're now very sort of similar in tone, but quite just subtly different. So get that done, let it dry, and we'll move on to the next step. Next up, we are taking Gutrippa Flesh, treating it like a contrast paint and a base coat. Nice and simply, this is going to be over all the wraps and the bandages that we see across all of these models. And I'm going to give a few examples here just to give a kind of broad spectrum of what we're doing. So for this model, and there's another one like it because they are duplicated, you've got these wraps that go around the waist. This is the only style of this one, but you've got all the ones that have these cyclopean masks. They all have that, where it's just these bandages here. You've got wraps that go around their arms, sometimes they have it around their legs. You've got these bindings going around the axes. This is what we're looking for. Nice and simple. I'm going to go show a couple of other examples. So for instance, this one, this style's got it going down here, obviously around the leg, around the arm. The only difference is, because he's got the hood over him, you can't see the ones on this one, but that's the only kind of head. I've also done this little satchel bag as well. Again, there's another model exactly duplicated, but it's the only type. Give a couple more examples. As you can see, here's another type of style. I put it on this kind of sort of papery thing that we see up here. Sometimes it's attached to the front of the shield, sometimes it's to the side. It's just things like this that we're looking for. So nice and simple, take your time, one model at a time, and once it's dry we'll move on to the next step. Next up, we're going to paint the cloth details. This is the rags that we see mostly around the top. Sometimes it's down the bottom on top of the trousers, but we're also doing the trousers too. Very simple, green and brown. Our green is going to be Creed camo. Essentially, this is a nice sort of off green. It looks dirty, it doesn't look right, especially on a model like this. Absolutely perfect for zombies and Nurgle. Our brown is Skeleton Horde. Both of these paints, we're not filling them down, we're just applying them straight over. In some instances, they will look a bit flat. We're going to do an overall wash at the end when I've got a couple more details base coated on. But we're just doing these two for the moment. I'll show a couple of other examples just to give you ideas. So once again, you've got the Creed camo, Skeleton Horde. This is where the cloth sometimes is seen on the bottom. As you can see, it's separate from the trousers. It just makes sense to have it there too. Now you could do other variations if you wanted to, different colours, but I find when it comes to batch painting models like these, we just want to keep things as simple as possible. Other points to note, these two in particular, some of the heads have horns. In that case, it's Skeleton Horde as well. Just to show two more examples, we've got these as well. So nice and simple, take your time, get those done, let it dry, we'll move on to the next step. Next up, we're painting our dark brown details. This is going to be the brown leather straps and the wood. So nice and simple. For our brown leather straps, we're taking Targor brown. Most of this you'll see is the belts that go around the waist, and then some of these have harnesses and straps that go around their body. Not every model does, but every model should have that unless they've got the bandaging in front. Now, you have got these straps that are on the inside of the shield. You could do them in a Targor brown too. Our wood is nice and simple, just wildwood, simple and classic, nothing really much to say. Don't forget you've got the little handles, and sometimes it really is just the tiniest section like that of wood to do too. I'll show a couple of other examples just to give you ideas of what it looks like. So again, you've got the Targor brown for the leather straps, limited wood handle. Obviously swords are all metallic, so they don't have it. Give a couple of other examples. Nice and simple. Now, one of the things to point out is not every shield is wooden, because you've obviously got these metallic ones. However, one of these shields, in the sense of the variant that I've built, does have a wooden interior. The other two don't. So just something to remember, one of them does have a wooden interior, the others are completely metallic. So get that done, we'll move on to the next step. Next up, we're going to take a Phonian Camoshade, and I have thinned this down ever so slightly in a, not a ratio mix, it's just a drop of Lamy medium just to help with the flow. Essentially, it's still pure Phonian Camoshade, but where we're putting this is over all those details we've just done. So the Creed camo, the Skeleton Horde, the Targor brown, and the Wildwood. Now essentially, it's just going to tint it ever so slightly, give it more definition, all that kind of stuff. But because it's a shade paint, because it's got the properties that help seal things down, it's just going to seal that contrast paint that we've put on, just that down a little bit more. In a sense, like a varnish, but not exactly like a varnish. Just enough that when we do some dry brushing in the next step, it won't chip off unless you really hack at it. So the gentle dry brushing should be able to do it without any chipping. So get that done. While that's drying, we've got a couple of other details to do. We're going to take Nazdreg yellow, and essentially all of our little pus spots across the models we're just going to pick out. Some have more, some have less. So we're looking at all the different body parts and just finding them. Showcasing the other one as an example. As you can see, some have more, some have less. They've all got them. So while that's drying, we're also going to take the Lupus Pink. This is going to be for a couple of select details. A couple of the heads have exposed tongues just sticking out, so we want to pick those out. The other one with the Lupus Pink to point out is you've got this kind of little sort of organ thing that's sort of stuck down there by its feet. Only two of these models have that, and it's just to pick out, just to make something a bit different. So let all those details dry, and then we're going to highlight them all. So all the colours that we've done so far all very closely tied together. There's a reason why I've done it this way. We want to make batch painting easy. It can get very tedious very quickly, especially when you've got a large number of models like this. So essentially, what I want to do is create this colour scheme, which we've done, where we have one dry brush that literally covers every single colour in one hit. Nice and simple. So the colour is Pallid Witch Flesh. Simply take a small dry brush, take your time, just very gently dry brush and just catch as many of the raised edges as possible, including the base if you've done the sternum mud, and it just gives a very subtle natural highlight that works for every single colour that we created. Be it the skin, be it the cloth, be it the wood, it all works nicely. What it means is everything we've done so far is finished. All we got to do is now batch paint all of our metallic details. Next up, we need to start thinking of our colour scheme. Now, the official models, they have a sort of silver tinted green kind of armour with all these kind of scales and trinkets. We've got to think rather carefully. We've got a lot of green already in place, and even that brown blends into that green. By doing more, it's just not going to look right. We can start to think about different colours, and one of the colours that works really well, both for Death Guard miniatures as well as the Maggotkin of Nurgle, is bronze detailing, which will add verdigris towards the end. But this is what I've gone with. So it's going to be for all these sort of round armour little plates, the little trinkets, the Cyclopean masks, this kind of stuff, and I'll show some more examples shortly with the other models, but this is what we're looking for, and the colour here is Screaming Bell. So nice and simple. Do that as a base coat. Obviously go one at a time, and when they're all dry, we're going to shade them. We want a kind of dirty brown effect to go with the idea that they're all horrible and nasty looking. So Agrax Earthshade is the colour here. Again, let it dry. I'm just going to do a very gentle dry brush once again just to catch the most raised areas, and the colour here is Sycorax Bronze. So we're doing that across all of the models just to show some other examples. There's the shields as well that I've done. Things like this. I'll show one more example very quickly. So get that done, and as I say, we'll add some verdigris towards the end. For now, we'll leave that to the side and we'll move on to our silver details. It's time to finish off all of our remaining details, and it simply is just the silver. That's all that should be left to paint. So nice and simply, we've got three colours. Once again, base coat, shade and highlight. Our base coat this time is going to be Lead Belcher, and this is going to be for all of our silver details. I want a mid-tone tier where it's got a nice bit of shine, but it's not too bright, not too dark. Now, do that across all the models. Let it dry, and then we need to shade it. And once again, we're going back to Agrax Earthshade. I want that dirty brown vibe. It really works well. It goes against the green but works with the green equally, and it matches all of our bronze detailing too. So once again, shade all of that, let it dry, and then we need to focus on the highlight. And once again, we want to make it nice and easy because it's batch painting and there's a lot of work involved. We're going to dry brush, and this time it's Stormhost Silver. Some of the areas you've got a bit of bronze detailing near it. If you accidentally catch it, you only end up doing the sort of corners. It's only going to enhance. So it's not the end of the world if you do catch it. I'm going to show a couple of other examples just to give you an idea of what we're looking for at this sort of final stage. As you can see, they're looking very, very effective now. Now at this stage, they're not battle ready, they are fully painted, but it's worth spending another half an hour-ish just to really enhance them a little bit further. We're going to add some texture paints and further details just to make them pop a little bit more. So let that dry, we'll move on to the next step. And finally, showing off some final details, we're doing technical paints here just to create some awesome effects. Firstly, verdigris. Now my style is a mix. It is 3 parts Briar Queen Chill and 1 part of Lilac Oxide. Nice and simple. The 3 parts of Briar Queen Chill will mix with the Lilac Oxide. They're pretty much the same colour. Essentially, it turns Lilac Oxide into a contrast paint, giving you control. So when you apply it on, it won't be all sort of it doesn't sort of fog up the area, it doesn't stain, it doesn't ruin the details. You've got control where you move the paint around into the recesses, and once it settles and you're happy with it, just dries like a contrast paint would, but with the verdigris effect. It is a very cool technique that I do on my other videos. Moving on from that, we can apply a bit of it to the base as well, as what I've done with the other models. And then talking of the base, we can add a bit of Nurgle's Rot, because it's Nurgle, why wouldn't you? And finally, we wanted to show how gruesome they are. We're going to take Blood for the Blood God, and simply with a small dry brush, we're not dry brushing it on, but we're just going to stipple it onto the weapons and blades, just to create a very nasty look that, you know what, they are hacking away at their foes. So with that done, our models are complete. That's the whole squad done, and they do look amazing. All we need to do, if you haven't already, is to paint the rim of the base. I've gone with Abaddon Black, and then add some tufts if you wish to. And there we have it. The Pox Wretches are complete. Now, I said at the beginning, and I'll say it again now, these are absolutely fantastic models. Whether it's for AOS, whether it's for Darkwater, whether it's for 40k, there's just so much potential with these models. I do hope they get separate releases. They are, of course, the big number when it comes to this box set. It's the biggest amount of batch painting we're going to have to do. Getting it done early is a great thing. They're fantastic models, they're a joy to paint, but just making them done just goes a long way to finishing off that box set. And this colour scheme looks really great. It works nicely, it showcases them for what they are, and more importantly, you can do it in a day. And that is really effective when it comes to good looking speed painting. Now, if this video has helped and inspired you, then please show that hobby love. Give the video a like and also share it. There are so many people out there that are loving Darkwater, that are picking it up. They may need help and inspiration, and if they get a share that it thinks, wow, I need to see that, it helps my channel, but more importantly, it helps them as a hobbyist. And if you haven't already, then please do subscribe, because it is that support that keeps this channel going. And it just does something wonderful, because supporting me means I get to continue supporting you, the awesome Warhammer community. So until the next video, do look after yourselves, and happy hobbying.